Welcome. I invite you to subscribe, like, and share the story. We really appreciate your support. Enjoy the journey. Sarah, 20, 4 years old, Telred. When I created a Tinder account, it was already very popular, and I had just arrived from the province, eager to get a higher education. Among my first acquaintances, I met a man with an unusual interest in foot fetishists. During our communication, which initially went well, he began to ask how I would react if he, let's say, wanted to play with my feet when we met. At that time, I didn't know how to delete the dialogue yet, and I just decided to ignore it. At the same time, I made an attempt to do an internship in the 𝐂𝐫𝐷 department in the field of information technology. The interview process in one of the companies consisted of several stages. Approaching the final interview, I was called to the company's office, and there he was, a colossal metropolis, almost unthinkable. How is this even possible? Well, he just didn't know where to put himself. I was never hired. Opinion of the author of the channel. I want to say that there are a lot of different personalities on dating sites. You are lucky that this person immediately announced his intentions. So get to know your interlocutors better and only then agree to a meeting. Barbara, 20, 3 years old, Miami. I had a period when I heard enough stories that it was really possible to find a husband in a Tinder. I was skeptical about these stories, but for the sake of interest, it's still registered. A man of 30 wrote to me. There was one photo on the avatar that didn't really show a face. From words, he decided to go straight to the point and immediately offered to meet, explaining that online communication is not his strong suit. I'm not used to going on dates with complete strangers, but in the end, I agreed. At first, everything was romantic. We walked, rode a yacht, looked at the stars, and then his friend, who, as it turned out, was driving the boat, offered us whiskey. I replied that I didn't drink, but my refusal didn't bother them. The walk ended with them drinking several bottles. We were standing in the center of the city. It was already late, 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, "That's it, I'll call a taxi." He seemed surprised. "Why don't you come to me?" When I said no, he suddenly burst into tears. The picture was complemented by a downpour. We didn't see each other again. Opinions of the author of the channel. I don't even know what to say here. Just don't lose hope. I think you will find a decent man who will become your husband. Betty is 40 years old, Texas. It seemed to me that I had done the impossible. I finally found an adequate man on Tinder. Communication was going great. We went on dates. At one of them, he called me to his house. We arrived in a cozy and spacious apartment. At first, we sat on the couch and kissed. When it came to sex, he said, "I'm going to take a shower and come back." After 10 minutes, he solemnly opened the doors and, completely naked, rode out on roller skates with the words, "Twist my dick." I said I wouldn't do it. Then he offered me $10,000. After thinking about it, she twirled, took the money, and left. Opinion of the author of the channel. It's a very funny story. Be careful with such acquaintances. Although I see that it didn't bother you and even took $10,000 from him, as they say, they found their advantages. Wendy, 27 years old, Florida. Once a man with an unusual avatar wrote to me on Tinder. There was a man in the photo with black pencil eyes. The greeting was supported by an offer to meet him at the hotel, and not just for love, but for 70,000 rubles. Naturally, I did not answer him and after some time deleted the dialogue. Then he started actively writing to me in other social networks. One of the messages sounded like this: "You won't hear that much on your tutoring." I felt uncomfortable with his tone and the fact that he found out what I was doing. A few weeks later, I blocked it everywhere, told my friend about this story, and forgot. A year later, she sent me a link to the news. A man dismembered a girl he met in a Tinder. This man turned out to be him. Opinion of the author of the channel. This story is a chilling reminder of the potential dangers of online interactions. It underscores the importance of staying cautious and vigilant while engaging with strangers on digital platforms. If faced with uncomfortable or threatening situations online, it's crucial to take immediate action. Block and report the individual and prioritize personal safety. Trusting one's instincts and sharing experiences with trusted friends can provide additional support in navigating the online world more securely. Gabriella, 18 years old, Edmonton. In the second year, on the advice of friends, I registered in the Tinder. One of the guys we had a match with decided to invite me to the park. I agreed. Winter. 30 degrees frost. It was so cold that the eyelashes frozen to the lower eyelid. I offered to go warm up at the Starbucks we were passing by. He refused, citing high price tags. So we passed by several coffee shops. His response was to take a walk in the woods. Of course, I didn't agree. He grabbed my hips and said, "I liked you so much, I would shoot you right now." I was lucky that there were people on the street. To attract attention, I started sneezing loudly. My saliva got on it. While he was wearing his face with a napkin, I dialed my friend's number and run away. Opinion of the author of the channel. Your experience serves as a powerful reminder to prioritize your safety and well-being. Trust your instincts and set clear boundaries when meeting new people. Remember, you are never obligated to tolerate inappropriate behavior. Surround yourself with supportive friends and always prioritize your comfort and happiness. Your journey is valuable and your voice matters. Stay strong and true to yourself. David is 23 years old in Colorado. I wrote to one on Tinder, corresponded for a couple of days, and agreed to meet at the bar. She spent almost all the time on the phone and was right on the lookout, watching the entrance to the bar. People passed by us and greeted her. It was clear that she was a regular here. We took a drink before as she contacted someone and, saying for a second, went somewhere, not returning even after 10 minutes. In the end, the bartender came up to me and asked if we were on a date. I said yes, and he was like, "She's with her drug dealer now. Beer for my bill, and keep in mind, she's not coming back." Opinion of the author of the channel. I'm sorry about your Tinder date experience. Stay true to yourself and be patient in your search for a meaningful connection. The right person will come along when the time is right. Gloria, 24 years old, Alabama. We contacted the guy. He offered to meet. I like determined young people, so I agreed. On the first date, he shared with me a story about which, according to him, he did not like to spread. He used to work as a webcam model. I listened to his stories and realized that the names of many of those he mentions are familiar to me. It turned out that he and my ex-boyfriend were in the same class. When I revealed the cards about our acquaintance through one handshake, he stopped communicating with me. Opinion of the author of the channel. In any relationship, it is important to give preference to honesty and communication. Be open-minded when meeting new people, and the necessary connections will be established by themselves. But maybe you ruined the boy's life by revealing his secrets. Jennifer, 30 years old, New York. If this story had not happened to me personally, I would never have believed that this is reality and not fiction. Because everything that happened to me, and as it turned out later, in parallel with many other girls, resembles a mixture of a horror movie with a Brazilian TV series. This story is about a pathological liar and female gullibility, which can lead to disaster. About how sometimes you really want to close your eyes to alarm bells, and about the horror of epiphany. I met this man on a dating site. We wrote off met. He arrived in an Audi Q8. We had dinner. We discussed hobbies, work. He said he was a police colonel. I liked the man's values. Kindness, care. He talked about charity. We started dating. The man was very attentive, courteous. He gave gifts to me. MacBook, AirPods, and so on. And my daughter. We had dinner only in restaurants. When I said I wanted to go on vacation, he transferred $250,000. After 2 months of our acquaintance, a girl came to work for me. She found me on social networks and wrote under the guise of a client. The girl said that the man introduced himself to her as a lieutenant colonel of foreign intelligence and a business owner, surrounded her with attention, wanted a family and children. She got pregnant, and then he started disappearing. He had already met me in parallel. He told her about problems at work, about some missing documents for which he could be imprisoned. The girl had an abortion. She showed me their correspondence. There's so much happiness and then despair and pain that the heart breaks. I broke off the relationship. A few months later, another girl came out to the girl who found me. She found the number in the man's diary. It turned out that the girl is the owner of a large business, and the deceiver met with her and the two of us. That is, there were already 3 of us. He was walking us at the expense of a business lady. A couple of months later, another girl also found me on social networks, who was horrified to find out that he was unemployed. The man borrowed money from her, but I do not know how much money we are talking about. Later, I got a call from his friend, who was introduced to us all in different roles and even called by different names. He called a few more names of the girls and said that the deceiver owed $300,000 and $600,000 each. After that, I was contacted by a girl who had a child left by him. The man pulled the amount from her Diane apartment. He also tried to get me back, as well as others. I hired a grandmother who also approached me under the guise of a client. Allegedly, her grandson needed help. They even came a couple of times for consultations. After that, she said that she had turned to her neighbor, a fortune teller, about me. And she said that she saw how some vile women sentenced a beautiful man and that he was given to me by fate. Unfortunately, this man continues his activities and lives at the expense of girls. Some of them are single mothers raising their children. It was the desire to protect other women that prompted me to tell this story. Opinion of the author of the channel. The chilling story serves as a cautionary reminder of the dangers of online dating and falling free to pathological liars. It highlights the importance of being vigilant and protecting oneself and others from deceitful individuals in the digital world. Be careful and stay safe. Remind me of the story from the movie about Tinder. How do you like this format of candid stories from Tinder? Give feedback in the comments. If you want to share your stories, write to the mail. Everything will be anonymous. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.